How's it? Today is April 23rd, Friday. My hair is crazy, and I am doing some singles from the floor. So last week I did these weights from the hang, 95 and 120. I didn't miss any of them last week, but I did tell Steve that my elbow was giving me a lot of issues, and so I didn't feel like my overhead position for snatch was very secure. The same thing happened today, but to a much worse extent. I missed every single one of my top sets, and I knew going into it today that it was going to be rough. I knew, like, right from these warm up sets that I was like, oh, this is how today's going to go. And it is what it is. I tried to make the best out of it. In light of talking with my friend Jiwan, um, I I recall telling him that sort of you got to kind of take wins where you can get them. And for me today, failing on all of my top sets, it was one of those big practices where I needed to have a strong mental. And I did have a strong mental. I think relative for where I am, I ended up hitting all of my clean and jerks, even with the elbow pain, and then I ended up pause front squatting a PR. So that's kind of where I redeem myself. I'm taking more of an active approach on how I am doing. But a couple things about these lifts today is that similar to last week, everything aside from the overhead position, you saw there a little bit laxity in my left elbow on the catch. That's not good. But everything aside from the overhead position was just really strong. I felt extremely like precise, like this here. My elbow does get a little bit of play in and out. Here's my first fail. So ordinarily, if I don't have that little wiggle, I make that lift because that is just sort of what I have that positioning. This here also similar thing. Once I get into my mind, into my head where it's where I think it's gonna hurt, I'm not gonna push, and that's not a conscious thing. It's definitely subconscious. I don't think that it would have hurt if I had landed it correctly, but just the fear of it hurting is enough for me to do things differently. You can even see here that on my first clean at 60, my elbow, my left elbow, it doesn't feel great. When I drop it, I sort of swing it around just because that's how I view pain. So it wasn't until maybe around 100 that my elbow started feeling okay, like relative for the clean. And I am not super sure why that's happening because as far as things in the past, my elbow never hurt on the clean. It would always hurt on the snatch, but it would never hurt on the clean. I'm aware that there is like a certain degree of elbow valgus when I am in the front rack position, and my elbow joint itself does gap. So the ligaments there are not holding the elbow together as tightly. But it never hurt in the past. I'm able to train around it today, but I will need to figure out a way to mitigate this pain in the future. I'm doing my best to stretch my forearms, do curls, do tricep things. I'm doing my best to keep everything as healthy as I can. Here's my first set at weight. It did go out a little bit forward, but because of all the pause front squats that I've been doing lately, saving it's not challenging whatsoever. Again, here I made all of the clean jerks. It doesn't feel super great as far as my elbow. I wonder how many times I said elbow this video, Probably a lot. But yeah, the clean again, if it's not super precise, it doesn't matter at this point because I'm strong enough to account for that. This is easily the best clean. I think it's the best jerk as well. I don't quite remember. I kind of just blocked it out of my head just from all the pain that I was kind of enduring. Maybe the first jerk was better than that, but it's definitely better than the second jerk. And after that, I moved into my pause front squats. I wasn't sure how much, or at least how heavy 148 would feel, which is the number I hit today. You can see there. That's a PR. That's a double body weight basically. If I weigh 74, just like 163 pounds, which in the mornings I'm probably around that weight. And so double body weight front squat is something that I have been able to do in the past, but never paused. So pausing it is the variation here that makes this a PR. I think my best front squat ever is 330. So 148 is what, 4 pounds. Here's the top set. I do get a little bit of push forward there, but I think that's fine. Yeah, so 148 is 4 pounds under 330, so 326-ish. But yeah, I'm like super happy with that. My down sets, Steve said to keep them around 130, and I figured why not just do the 10% down. So I ended up doing 10% down at 133. These are not as easy as they were last week, but I'm still very happy with the progress I'm making, because a few weeks ago, 135 was my top set of my top single, and so now I'm doing them for triples. Similar to the progression on the deadlift and my back squat, this is just pretty insane to think about how far I've come. And I'm very, very happy with how this turned out, especially how poorly the snatches went today. And one thing that's funny about this is that my elbow doesn't feel like anything in these front squats, whereas for the cleans, I definitely feel them. I'm sure it's because of the way that I hold the bar in my hands, but yeah, I'll be able to fix it at some point. So here are my pull-ups as my accessories, just weighted pull-up work up to a heavy set of 3. So here's my top set at 40. I think these are a little bit better than they were 2 weeks ago, not sure. Not super great though. And then I have sort of 2 burnout sets, just 2 sets of 10. And then my GHD sit-ups. I think today's workout was, it was good and bad. It was good mentally. It was good that I was challenged and I was able to pull through at least towards the end of the workout. And obviously it was bad because I did miss a lot of snatches, and the pain that sort of is in my elbow it's not something I can ignore at this point. But again, I'm very, 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 very happy with my progress on the front squat. I think that it's finally coming together, that I finally feel strong, though my body does feel very beat up. Yeah, it's lots of things to come in the future. I'm super excited about that. But thank you for watching. Shoots.